Hey guys, welcome to the Garbage Time Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Nolan, joined today by producer Matt.
Hello.
Which I realize I might confuse people because sometimes I call you Ford, sometimes I call you Fordy, and I feel bad because people
Both
might
my
think
names.
but people might be like, oh, I like producer Ford, but I don't like producer Matt.
Wow.
I know.
It all depends on the introduction.
I know.
Can I say my favorite part about being on this podcast is that I actually drink water?
Yeah.
This is like my first water of June.
This is the only time I
Yeah.
drink water, and it's only because it's right here, and I don't even think we clean these mugs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Flores' water that I'm drinking. I'm fine with it.
1,000%. You know what my favorite part of the podcast is?
What's that?
When you tell me about your panties.
Oh yeah, mine too. Let me tell you. So I'm here to talk about Mack Weldon,
Yep.
our sponsor for now a bunch of episodes. They're awesome. So they have, obviously they have great products. They have such a great website. Every time I go, I'm like amazed at how easy it is to find stuff.
Every time I go, I'm amazed by the dudes.
Yeah, there's
They're
that too.
naked.
Totally.
With their dicks and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that less, but it is a factor if you're into that, which you should be.
I'm just trying to appeal to our lady listeners.
Yeah,
You get the dudes,
totally.
I'll appeal to the ladies.
Yeah, well, the good news is that you approve of their products.
Yep.
Every time I wear my hoodie, you're like, man, that looks really good.
Yeah.
You should wear that more. So
Hit on you
definitely,
by accident one time.
yeah.
It was awkward for both of us.
I was fine with it. So yeah, it's the clothes are really comfortable. They're really stylish. They have everything: they have underwear, socks, shirts, undershirts, hoodies, sweatpants. They smell good. They eliminate odor, and they look good no matter what the context is. You're going out, you're going to the gym. You should always wear it.
So guys, they want you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair, you can keep it and you still get your money back. No questions asked. Go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off using promo code GARBAGETIME at checkout. That's MackWeldon.com, promo code GARBAGETIME, all one word, no spaces, 20% off.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Coming up in a bit, you guys will hear my chat with this week's guest, Robert Flores, formerly of ESPN, currently with MLB Network, RoFlo. It's pretty interesting. We talked about all the stuff about ESPN that I never get to know anything about.
Yeah.
He was really honest, which I appreciated so much. Talked about, SportsCenter, and we'll probably tell you what we talked about later. I don't know why I'm doing it now. Before we get into that, we've got so much to chat about.
So much.
First and foremost, NBA Finals last night. We didn't get to talk about it in the show because we pre-taped the show.
That's right.
So shout out to pre-taping.
That's right.
Because we did an entire
Yeah.
sports television program immediately following a game and mentioned it one time.
That's right. In the last block of the show.
And by mentioning it, we said, sorry, we can't talk about it.
Yeah. Hey.
Pretty dope.
We made it work.
Sports TV.
Definitely.
Hashtag success. Hashtag Emmy.
I mean, if we had actually covered it in the show, there would have been nothing to talk about because the game was so bad.
This
was
is so
bad.
strange to me. And we all watched the game together at a bar last night. And it was, when you watch at a bar with 7 to 10 people, you're not 100% watching the game all the time.
Totally.
Every time I looked up, I kept waiting for the lead to be smaller, and it never was.
It's like, oh, Golden State, they'll come back.
Yeah.
No.
At first, I'm like, oh my God, it's 9-0. This really is a blowout. Like
Yeah.
making a joke about, it's already garbage time. Most space is already in. And then I was like, wait, what? It stayed that way. for
Yeah,
pretty
the
much
entire time.
game.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The most infuriating part about it is that Taco Bell is doing that promotion where they're like, oh, steal a game, steal a taco. The first, every time a team steals a win on the road, you get a free taco. So the way the first 2 games went, I'm like, yo, free tacos tonight.
Yeah.
Nope.
We're running out of chances.
What the fuck?
It's getting a little like
I want my
nervy,
taco,
you know what I mean?
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
What did you say? Did you just make a great joke and I stepped
No,
on it?
not at all. I would say that, Steph Curry would need more than 2 points in the game for us to get a free taco in the next game. When's the next game?
Great
Sunday?
question. I'd say probably
Yeah.
next
I think
Thursday.
Sunday. Yeah, right. Sometime in like early July.
When is it?
17.
It's Saturday, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it's this weekend sometime.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. I don't
What
know.
happened?
I don't know. Like the Warriors just didn't show up last night. It looked like the Cavs actually wanted to be there, which they didn't want to do in the first couple games.
Tomorrow?
Is it really tomorrow?
That's dope.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just felt like every time they hit a shot, it just built their confidence. So they were taking those crazy shots, like that half-court shot right before halftime. J.R. Smith hit a half-court. It didn't count, but still.
Yeah, he was totally absent the first 2. So
Yeah.
it was good to see him back.
They were clicking.
Yeah.
And the Warriors just were not. It
Yeah.
just really felt like they got in their own heads, and
It
everything
did.
they did didn't work.
I would feel really bad if I was Kevin Love. It's like, oh, the team was so much better when I was not on the floor. That's
No,
kind of weird.
It's really awkward.
Yeah. Either him or Kyrie is going to go, I think.
One of them has to.
Yeah.
Mo Spates banged a 3.
He did.
And then they didn't count
immediately.
it. They didn't count it.
Yeah. Then someone else hit the 3 like right after that because it was like, ball don't lie. It was the spirit of that 3.
Exactly.
It had to.
But
it
I
had
wanted
to
Mo to
happen.
have it.
Yeah.
Mo deserved
it happened for us.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going to happen in Game 4?
I don't know. I feel like the Warriors can't play any worse.
I know.
But they lost by 1 million, so like you could still play better and lose.
Other big sporting event, OBS, that we have to talk about, Bachelorette.
Not the Stanley Cup.
No.
Bachelorette.
Wait, the what?
Sorry, why am I making that joke? I can not even tell you who's in it.
I know, but also just like it's not exciting.
Yeah.
Ashley's our resident hockey obsessed human.
Seething over there.
But it's not. I don't want to watch Sidney Crosby hoist a cup at all. In either context, actually, I don't want to see him with a cup or a cup. I just don't.
Yeah, not even drinking
No,
anything.
he's such a baby,
any
man.
cups.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
he's the
that's
worst.
and there is your Stanley Cup talk.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Bachelorette.
Get what you pay
watched
for,
this
guys.
week.
This is free. I did watch it.
All 4 hours.
No, I mean like.
I know.
But like 3 hours of it.
Shit.
A lot.
I watched
Yeah.
0 hours. Please don't be mad. I didn't watch it.
I'm totally okay with this.
And I think I heard some spoilers, and so I'm okay with it. With you being completely frank about what happened. I'll probably go back and watch it over the weekend, but like.
I mean, don't though.
4 hours, man. I guarantee they could have made that 15 minutes, and it would have had the same amount of like moving the story along.
Totally.
It's all padding.
Yeah, 15 minutes would be more than enough.
Yeah.
But there I was for 3 hours.
So Chad's out.
Chad's out.
Did he get physically violent with any of the dudes?
No, he keeps just doing the same thing of like threatening to like find people and like assault
What a
them.
weird, specific, like, I will find you after the show.
Yeah.
Like, who still says that?
I don't know.
I'll find you?
Yeah, I'll find you,
Stage
Jordan
5
Rogers.
clinger? Like, what do you...
Like, chill out. And like my favorite producer move that they've been doing is like, as soon as he got like a little bit terrifying, he's done all his testimonials with no shirt. So he's just like, he's huge. And he's sitting there just like shirtless, like, so I'm going to find Jordan Rogers and murder him if I don't marry JoJo. It's like, man, this guy really needs to cool it. But they've made him an amazing villain.
I
It's
think
crazy.
they told him to embrace the villain, and I think that was the biggest mistake. Because
Yeah,
when he was
it is a
just
mistake.
being kind of real and honest, it was cool. And then as soon as it was like, oh, I'm the villain, I'll take my shirt off for this interview and shove more meat in my mouth while I say I'm going to find the brother of a famous NFL quarterback. You're going a little too crazy for me now, Chad.
It's so ridiculous. And this episode ends. I can spoil it for you, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
so this episode ends with him. She goes on a double date with him and the little Marine Alex.
Oh,
And
that's
so
smart.
it's like
That's
very
producing. That's
pure, like
producing.
good versus evil, like
Yeah.
tiny Marine versus like ogre.
We all do
asshole.
agree he's fucking tiny,
He
right?
is so small.
What
he
a
is so
small man.
Yeah, so I'm in a bracket with my girlfriend, and she
Really?
picked
Everybody's in a goddamn bracket.
So she picked Alex to go to the finals, and she sees him for the first time. She's like, "Oh my God, he's so short. I have
So
no chance."
tiny.
I picked Christian though, who's out this week. But anyway,
Oh, he's out? It's because
yeah.
he was plain and boring. He didn't do anything.
yeah, he seemed nice though.
Yeah, he did, and handsome, but just not, he didn't have enough sizzle.
Yeah.
He was all
Pizzazz.
steak, no sizzle.
That's right. So this episode, I really need to get your take on this. The
Okay.
end of the episode, she picks Alex over Chad, and it's this whole like, dude, like Chad, you're insane. Like this can't stand.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like back in the house celebrating, and then they're like, wait, they're still talking to Chad, and he's like in the woods, like still talking. It's getting dark, and then he walks
The
to the
date
house.
was in the woods?
Yeah. Wait. He walks from the woods in the dark to the house and knocks on the window, and the episode ends.
The window?
Yeah, and everyone's like, what?
Why wouldn't he knock on the door?
Because he's
he's
insane. Because he's Chad. Yeah.
I need to just see that clip of him walking through the woods.
Can he come back? Is that allowed?
So is he Jon Snow?
No. He is pure evil.
All right.
He's like Ramsay Bolton, if anything.
Maybe he's the Dothraki king when he gets revived with the horse death and he's like alive but he's not alive. So they'll let Chad stay in the house just to be Chad, but he's not actually competing for the thing anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He is kind of Khal Drogo-ish.
Yeah, that's
you know?
his name, Khal Drogo.
He is.
Yeah,
Khal
that's
Shadow.
Khal Shadow.
Yeah. Wait,
Chad
this is
Drogo.
the thing.
Yeah.
Chad Drogo.
He'll just come back to be there and JoJo will be like, not even have him at the rose ceremony, but he'll just stay.
I think
it's like
that's
a
what's
perfect
gonna
metaphor.
happen.
Like Khal Drogo was alive, but he wasn't really alive.
Right.
Yeah. And then someone will smother him with a pillow at the end of the Bachelorette. Done.
That seems pretty likely.
Chad dies by pillow. Yeah.
So there's one more thing about Bachelorette this week
all right.
that actually pertains to sports.
Oh, wow.
So
Did they go on Sports Nation again?
This is even stupider. So there's an NFL quarterback on the show this week.
We'll just put that in. Oh, you mean
No, not
guest
Jordan.
starring. Right.
Who do you think it might be? Who would you guess?
I know who it is because I saw it on Twitter.
So you would guess it was Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, 100%.
Instead, it's Ben Roethlisberger.
Because
they
of
go
course.
to Heinz Field.
Of course.
To play catch with Ben Roethlisberger and
course.
play touch football. It was so ridiculous.
I wouldn't play touch anything with Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, yeah.
Just for my own personal safety.
Yeah.
Why Ben Roethlisberger?
I guess to make the other bachelors seem charming and likable and handsome.
Rush it.
I don't know. But Heinz Ward was there. Brett Kiesel. It was so silly.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't get the phone call to Green Bay. They wouldn't pick
I
up.
guess. They went to like
I'd
Pennsylvania
much, I know,
for this
I'd
episode.
much
So
rather
stupid.
go to Green Bay.
Yeah. I think Aaron Rodgers pretends not to know Jordan Rodgers. Is that your brother, dude? No. Not my brother.
I bet
No
Aaron
idea.
Rodgers is really good friends with Chad. And he's like, this is so awkward.
Yeah. I'm in Chad's corner all the way.
From what I've heard, though, JoJo is really like, if you're watching, apparently it's obvious that she is going to pick Jordan already.
That's what I think, yeah.
Here's the problem with that for me. That's like an immediate star fucker. Not that Jordan's a star. The fact that she would
Right.
get to be like friends with Olivia Munn
Yeah.
and Aaron Rodgers. Like,
I
she
mean-
wants in on that circle. And that's kind of like, that's not real.
To be fair, though, I think I would marry Jordan Rodgers if I could be friends with Aaron
Me
and
too.
Olivia, you know?
Me too.
What NFL quarterback do you think would make a logical Bachelorette cameo, not Aaron Rodgers? Brady?
That's a great question. No, Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler. Explain.
Well, because he's not new to reality TV.
True.
He's used to it.
Very true.
He met a woman that was in that.
Yep.
And he's also just like such a bro. Or you could have Philip Rivers there, and he'll impregnate someone before he leaves.
Yeah. Phil Rivers
his-
plus 8.
Yeah, his 90th baby of his lifetime.
Yeah. That'd be
Romo, I could see Romo doing it.
Yeah.
Because like he dated celebrities and stuff.
good. Yeah, he's kind of a star. Yeah. I like this. Let's develop a show.
Yeah, I don't think
Cool.
there's any. That Ryan Tannehill, I'll tell you, man.
Wait,
he'd be-
more Gruden.
he'd
More.
be-
Don't let that go away.
No, it goes away forever. Let's move on, but before we do so, let's talk about Blue Apron.
Let's.
You guys know what that is, right? Blue Apron knows that when you cook with incredible ingredients, you make incredible meals, ipso facto. So they set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, delicious,
So good.
wild-caught Alaskan salmon, delicious, or heirloom tomatoes. Guess what? Delicious. Blue Apron is bringing you the best. For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. It's foolproof, and I am a fool in the kitchen. This is foolproof. New recipes are created each week by Blue Apron's culinary team and are not repeated within a year. I've never not cooked the same thing within a week.
That's incredible.
I made mac and cheese on Monday, gonna make it again on Thursday.
That's right.
Because I only know how to make 6 things, but not with Blue Apron. Also, there's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them, and each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Check out this week's menu and get your 2 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/garbage. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So don't wait. Go to blueapron.com/garbage. Bill Simmons, do you use Blue Apron?
Yes, Katie, I love Blue Apron. I love all of the things on their menu, like wild-caught Alaskan salmon and heirloom tomatoes. Every time he reads a thing, it's like he's never read it before. Like the words, not like the ad copy, like the words. Wild-caught Alaskan, like what is
Salmon.
that? Yeah, salmon. Everything's like 1 syllable or 20 extra syllables when he reads.
What's the worst thing about the grocery store? Is it waiting in line?
Oh my God, 79-year-old lady in the line at the grocery store. She's writing a check by hand. Get out of here. Blue Apron.
I bring my typewriter to the grocery store for my checks. All right, earlier today, as we mentioned, I chatted with Robert Flores, recently joined MLB Network. We talked about his career at ESPN, his relationship with Stephen A. Smith. I tried to find the nicest way to ask the question, and I looked at him and I'm like, I'm going to phrase this in a way that makes it easy for you to answer. And he said, just ask it. I said, is he an asshole? I didn't know how else to ask it. But he was really honest. Like I mentioned before, it was really, really interesting stuff. If you're trying to get into the industry, or you want to, or you love sports and you're curious of what goes on behind the scenes at ESPN, this is a riveting interview. If not, go for a run or something. We also talked about how he found out about his future at ESPN through a Richard Deitsch tweet. You know who's going to love that story? Richard Deitsch.
Yes.
Take a listen. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You look way too fancy.
Yeah, see, I've got to go to work soon after, and it looks weird because, like, you're comfortable with these chairs, but like, what do y'all do?
Every person that comes here is like, do I sit here? Do I sit? There's really no.
Yes.
I like that. If you could maintain that for the whole pod.
Do like be good for the abs.
Yeah.
And crunches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about so many things, but
Good.
before we even get to like ESPN and your career there and what you're doing now,
Yeah.
an interesting question that I like to hear from everybody who works in this field, since I'm new and I took a weird path to get here. How did you get your start in broadcasting?
I went to. Okay, my first TV job was working behind the scenes, cutting tape, getting interviews, writing a few scripts at a TV station in Houston. And I got that job because I was working at the Gap at the time, and a guy I went to high school with, who we didn't know we knew each other but not very well. He was working at that station. He came into the Gap. I remember this because I was folding jeans, and we started talking, and I was asking him, hey, what are you doing? He told me, hey, I'm working at this TV station. Oh yeah, what do you do? I work in the sports department. And I said, hey, if you guys, I'm in school right now for that stuff. If there's ever an opening, man, I sure would love to get in there. And to his credit, his name is Dale Davis. He hooked me up.
It's like an SNL sketch. Like
I
you're
know.
folding pants and then a guy walks in all from high school. Wow.
He walked exactly.
Did he walk like this? Well, he was going to the Gap, so I assume that's how he walked.
That's right.
So then how'd you get from there to ESPN?
I worked there from my sophomore year in college all the way up and through graduation, and then my first on-air job was in a small town in northeast Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana, and from there I went to Waco, Texas, and from Waco I was in Waco for 6 years, and from there I went to Austin, and I was there for Austin until I got fired.
So yeah, let's talk about that. So you were in Austin, you got fired because you said fuck on a tape that wasn't supposed to air, but it aired.
That's right. Can you?
I can say whatever the fuck I want to.
Damn, that's
all
right.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Things have changed.
Exactly. This is a whole new. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It was, you tape like a morning sportscast after the regular night newscast is over, and it airs the following morning. And we were taping it. Something happened. I muttered the F word underneath my breath because we had to do another take.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, that take with me muttering the F word appeared on the air. And that station was, at the time, owned by Viacom. And this was all post Janet Jackson nip slip at the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Right.
Also, Shaquille O'Neal had said the F word during a post-game interview that was also on a Viacom station. So they had this whole zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
So I became a victim of that. And also I think I was probably making a little bit too much money and they wanted to get rid of some salary. That's what I think. I can't prove that, but that's what happened. And another thing is, like, people sometimes ask, where can I find that? I've searched on YouTube, and all this was before YouTube. So you can't really find it. I had a copy of it somewhere, but I've thrown it away. So yeah, I got fired, and I was out of work for 6 months.
Jesus, because somebody else made a mistake.
Correct.
So did you call that person that accidentally aired that?
That particular station, I mean, sometimes in local you're not dealing, and this is not the case for everyone, but sometimes you're not dealing with the brightest people in various departments.
That's a safe thing to say without having
Sure.
to qualify it. We're
Sure.
talking about probably a PA in a local
so
news.
it was just an unfortunate thing. And look, I was hot when it happened, and I fought as hard as I could to try to keep my job, but it, like I said, they weren't having any of it.
That's crazy to me because I say fuck all the time.
I know, this is like the third time you said it
I
in
know.
2 minutes.
Isn't that fucking crazy? No, but every time I screw up when I'm reading prompter, if we're doing like a rehearsal or if we're doing a take, first thing I do, and I have to fix this because I'll never get a job anywhere else, the second I say the wrong word, I'm like, motherfucker, start over. And if that ever made it to air and didn't get bleeped, I'm sure I'd probably get in some trouble too.
Yeah, I mean, times are different, and plus, this is, it's cable, it's the internet that you're on and things like that. So, and plus, it's it's kind of charming, I guess, when you say
Oh,
it.
is it? It's charming when I say fuck.
Yeah.
Tell my mom that. So then, let's flash forward. You were co-anchoring ESPN News when your co-host.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You did?
Yeah, until you remind Danielle Sargent.
Danielle Sargent, during a clip, said, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
On live TV.
Yes.
Did you immediately get
I did. I
no.
really did. I really did. It made my stomach hurt at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember because it was just now that
what happened there?
Yeah,
because
I think I can find that on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. I found
can?
it.
Oh, did you?
Because it looks like they tossed to you
How
guys.
did my hair look in that
It was
clip?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
You look exactly the same. Like you don't age. You have looked the same
You know,
from when
I
you
should-
started to now.
Someone gave me a picture of like my high school yearbook class picture, and I put it out, and I got a lot of, hey, that was
Look,
that last week.
exact
So
same.
It's good
Yeah.
genes.
Yeah,
Good genes.
it's working for you.
Okay,
But
so what happened there
right.
was sometimes when you have, and I think this is still true, when there's long, SportsCenter shifts are typically 2 to 3 hours, especially if they're on ESPN News. And typically you're doing, unless there's breaking news, you're doing the same stuff. So if you do a really good highlight read and everything went well, they'll say, hey, do you want to just clip that off and we'll run it again the next hour, that way we're not all doing the same stuff. So that's kind of what happened there. There was a clip of a particular hour that we were rerunning, if memory serves, and they came out of it too quick, and she was caught off guard, I was caught off guard, and we were also supposed to be tossing to another network, so there was a lot of sort of plates up in the air.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened.
Yeah, so you went to a clip and you were doing the highlight, and I assume she thought
Yes.
my mic is off.
Correct.
So
Right.
but still open to the control room. And you just hear her be like, "What the fuck was that?"
I know.
Which is what you'd say to your producer, but then her mic was still on.
I know. It like I said, it really, when it happened, because when you have your earpiece in and you can hear the program and it sounds different as
Right.
opposed to when you're just talking with someone. So when she said it, I knew that it went out on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't tell her that,
Right.
but when we were done, I said, look, I think it went out on the air. I said, I know you didn't mean it, but I think it went on the air, and it's going to be okay. That's the only thing I could say.
Yeah, I mean, of all the people to have
Right.
that happen when you're
Right.
sitting, at
I
least
know.
you were like, I've
I
been
know.
there.
People and I remember people were like, "Man, it must be something, your karma or something like that."
Were you glad it was a woman and not a man? Because had it been a dude, people might have been like, it was definitely Roflo. He's done this before.
Yeah, I've been I never thought of it that way, but I guess that could have been. Yeah.
To your credit, you didn't stumble at all over the highlights. She said it, and you were like, boop, kept going.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there is something that I heard Vince McMahon say, and everyone knows I'm a wrestling geek, that if it happens on live TV, no matter what it is, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. And that's what I think about. And then you
like
just
that.
roll on. You just power through it. So,
I like that.
yeah.
It's probably not true, but I like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good thing to think about.
Yeah,
Right?
happened for a reason.
Exactly. I remember one of my first SportsCenters, I was anchoring with Scott Van Pelt, and instead of, the highlight was shot clock winding down, but instead of shot clock,
Oh no.
I said something that rhymes with clock.
Oh no.
And also
You said
starts with
shot
a
cock.
I did.
Oh no.
Right.
And you don't get in trouble for that, right? That's like a
No,
slip
I mean
up.
that's just a slip up.
Yeah.
And this was pre-Twitter, but it is.
Oh,
if you-
Twitter, what a beautiful
I know,
time.
wasn't it such it's just such an innocent. It's kind of like, almost like when the automobile had just been invented.
Yeah,
that
right?
time. And,
We were learning.
but
all
yeah,
these
it's
things.
that me saying shot clock is still a drop that they use on the Howard Stern channel.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're immortalized.
Yeah,
You
so that's
live
good.
forever
I
in
love Howard
infamy.
Stern, so that's on there. So that's good.
When you got hired at ESPN, which
Mm-hmm.
I imagine for a sports-loving male is like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like
Oh,
the
it was,
best
it was my dream
moment.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I had wanted to work there since I was 20 years old, since I saw Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann. And,
Yeah.
and I know that that's a typical story for most people.
Yeah,
that
lots
work
of men had that
there.
dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you how did you get hired?
Well, remember, I was out of work for 6 months, and I know that when I got that phone call for ESPN, just the week before that, I had started looking up insurance classes, real estate, because
Oh,
it was
man.
getting dire.
Yeah.
So I get my agent called. My agent at the time called and said, "Hey, I heard from ESPN they might want to bring you in for an interview." And at that time, I had heard him say, "Hey, so and so might call and bring you in," and nothing ever worked out. So I just thought, "Okay, yeah, just get me a job." I didn't really believe it. And then a week later, he said, "You know what? They just want to offer you the job." So
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was really amazing, and I'll never forget. My oldest son was 10 at the time, and he came in through the door from school, and I just hung up, and I said, I got a job at ESPN. And he dropped his backpack and gave me a high five. So
Aw.
I mean, it was something that I'll never ever forget. So
That's amazing.
yeah, so he's 21 now.
Oh man, drinking. Because you
Probably.
can't do it before you're 21.
That's right.
I didn't start till the day of my
That's
birthday.
right.
So what were your first days like there? What do you remember?
I remember. Okay, because I had not gone in for an interview or the audition process or anything.
You just got hired.
I just got hired. It was crazy. So I remember my wife and I were on a house hunting trip. I called up there and said, "I'm going to be starting soon. I haven't had a chance to visit the campus or meet anyone formally. Can I come up there and just pop in and just visit for a little bit?" And a nice woman in the she was in the production scheduling department at the time, met me. Gave me a tour. I remember seeing Stan Verrett, Keith Russell. I saw Dan Patrick in the hall, and I was just like, "Whoa, there's Dan Patrick." And this nice woman took me around and introduced me to some people, and one of the executive assistants to one of the big bosses there at the time. She's the woman that was shepherding me around said, "This is Robert Flores. He's one of our new anchors." And the executive assistant said, "Oh, are you our newest ESPN Deportes anchor?" And I said, "Not that I said not that I'm aware of, because if that is the case, then something terrible has gone wrong, because my Spanish, I mean, I unfortunately don't speak Spanish fluently. I mean, I can talk with my grandmother, I can
Right.
order food and find my way around and things like that, but certainly in front of TV, and that's a big regret of mine. I wish I spoke it fluently, because both my parents do. But yeah, so when she told me that, asked me that, I said, "No, I'm one of the English ones.
Just regular
I'm one of the
SportsCenter.
English speaking
I'm
ones."
on white SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Breaking the
Yeah.
mold.
And I afterwards I went to the lady. I said, "Can we double check to make sure that it is the domestic ESPN that I've been hired for?"
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
If they're like,
and that
"Oh,
was
yeah."
2005, and I was the second Hispanic person hired on the domestic side. The first one was Kirk Jimenez, and like I said, that's 2005.
Yeah.
So that wasn't that long ago.
No.
And ESPN's been around since 1979, so it just shows that, we still got a ways to go, and we've certainly have come a long way, but we still got a ways to go.
Yeah. And so 11 years there?
Yeah, I was there for 11 years.
What did you notice about, I mean, obviously once you get there and you're excited and that fades because it becomes your job over that amount of time, but was there anything environment-wise at the network you felt change over those 11 years? Like, what were the biggest changes?
The biggest changes, just for me personally, it is, because like you said, the excitement wears off, and now it's okay, well, how do I maneuver and navigate the waters here and get to where I ultimately want to go, and that is, for me, was really the toughest challenge. I had never worked for a company that big. I'd never worked for a multimedia conglomerate, giant behemoth like
worldwide leader.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot. And I hope that there's some young broadcasters out there, because there's a lot to kind of that, even when I started there at 35 years old, that I didn't know.
Right.
First, your boss isn't your friend. Okay, your boss, they have good intentions, but they don't necessarily have your good intentions.
No. But they are very good at seeming like they do.
Correct. And also, your boss doesn't go home thinking about, how can I find a way to help Robert? How can I find, more often than not. So there's a lot of stuff you have to kind of figure out on your own, and taking these extra shifts and being the guy that's always there to take so-and-so sick. Can you fill in? Sure, I can do it. So-and-so can't come in and work on Thanksgiving. Can you do it? Sure, I can do it. More often than not, that doesn't pay off. And that's one thing that over time, that at least from my perspective, it's something that I learned.
Yeah, the politics of it is the part
Yes.
that I was never really still not prepared for. Of like,
Right.
I was always, focus on the creative, write the best thing,
Yeah.
make the best segment, but you don't realize behind the scenes you also have to play those.
Right, and you come to realize, and again, this is in the context of working, there are so many people that work there.
Yeah.
There's so many layers, because it's such a huge company. That's what I'm kind of framing it as. It's not, I found that it's not like in the movies where the boss comes up to me and says, kid, you're doing such a bang-up job. Why don't you take over? See?
Good accent.
This is, in my head, it's like a 1920s sort of gangster movie. But it's not like that. They don't see you doing a good job. Oh, so-and-so's putting his or her nose to the grindstone. Let's reward him or her with an X. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
And that sounds like real buzzwordy and things like that, but it's really, that's the way it is. If you're not going to speak up and stick up for yourself, you're going to get run over, and you're not going to get where you ultimately want to go. That is, now every person, there's always outliers there.
Sure.
But that's just
That's
just the way it is.
It's one of the I think understated things about the challenge for women in this industry. A lot of people see it as, Twitter, and people say mean things to you, and it's all men, and you get sexualized. One of the bigger things for me is that it's all men behind the scenes too, and women aren't usually as confident in advocating for ourselves as a male is. And so in the office dynamics, it's hard for a woman to be like, no, I want this job, give me this job, without being perceived as bossy or, bitchy.
Yeah.
So the behind the scenes stuff is even harder to, when you've got a boardroom full of men and you have
Right.
to tell them that you deserve something. It's tough.
Yeah, and there is a lot of that, and I imagine that's, if we were part of a $1 billion corporation that was in I don't know, petroleum or anything, any sort of big time company in any industry. I imagine it's like that.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, there's so many people there. There's so many layers that are in management and different things like that. So it is something that if you're thinking about wanting to pursue this career, I mean, it is something to think about when you get to that level.
Yeah. Learn to be an asshole sometimes.
Yes.
Pretty good
Absolutely.
advice. Was any of that between on-air talent, or is this mainly between like bosses and like? Did you ever have any weird political?
I don't think so. I mean, sure. I know that there's been situations where people didn't get along, and yeah. I mean, because it's natural. You're fighting for real estate. You're
Right.
fighting people. A lot of the people, your peers. I mean, we all would want to be the host of, Sunday NFL Countdown. We would all want to be the host of the 11 o'clock Eastern SportsCenter. I mean, that's natural. But I never took it personally because I don't blame them.
Right.
I mean, John Butchergross is one of my favorite people that I worked with at ESPN, and he took my spot. I was one of the originals. Remember when SportsCenter they started doing live SportsCenter during the day?
Yep.
I was on at noon Eastern with Chris McKendry when we signed on, and a year later, they called me in and said, "We're moving you. We want a bigger name in there."
They said that to you, just to your face.
They did.
Wow.
And they also said, we think you and Chris are a little bit too much alike. And I like Chris, and she's also one of my favorite people there, but this person clearly didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but Butcher Gross, and I remember we met like we had like little clothing lockers there in the, like below the newsroom, and he was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to, and I said, John, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not, it's just the way it is. So I never took it personally, but yeah, I mean, it is competitive, and that's what, it's a good and a bad thing, because it's like what the Seahawks do, right?
Right.
I mean, they breed competition during practice, and it makes you better. So there is a certain aspect of that does make you better. But, the constant looking over your shoulder, I mean, that can get old after a while. Yeah.
Were there other anchors who you noticed would take it personally?
Yeah.
Were there ever
I
times
mean,
where someone was
sure.
like, "What's up, Roflo?
No. I mean, I don't
Go
think,
back to Deportes where you came from."
Why don't you go to Deportes? Huh? All right. No, I never got anything like that. I mean, I pride myself in being able to work with all sorts of different personalities, and just because while it is my career, it is my job, I always try to remember that it is TV.
Yep. And sports TV.
It is. No one's going to get hurt.
Yep.
No one's going to lose their lives. We're not at risk physically or anything like that, and certainly not doing hard manual labor. There's a lot of more important and tougher jobs out there. So that's what I always try to remember. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you can take it personally.
Yeah.
I just try not to.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your ability to work with all different types of personalities, Stephen A. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have had a couple of moments. I want to ask this in a way that makes it easiest for you to answer.
No,
my best question would be like, is he an asshole? Because that's what I want to know.
No, I mean, I don't know Stephen A. all that well. I mean, the two kind of things that we've had on TV, we've like dapped it up afterwards, because I think he enjoys the
fighting with people.
Correct. I think he enjoys the give and the take, and he likes being challenged. And you know what? To a certain extent, we are all playing characters. I mean, sort of different versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to be authentic. in order for you know, it to resonate with the audience. But we are playing different versions of ourselves. I mean, if I wasn't here with you, I wouldn't be in this,
a suit. Yeah.
in a suit. I mean, I'd be playing video games in my boxers or something like that. So that's not
too much information.
Yeah. So it's, you know, people need to remember that it is just TV, and sometimes you have to play a character.
Play a role.
Yeah, you have to play a role. So no, I mean, I don't have any sort of animosity with him, and I would hope he would say the same thing, because, like I said, right after, I remember the first kind of dust up, if that's what you want to call it, or disagreement on air, was about Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
And then another one was about Floyd Mayweather
Right.
and the Manny Pacquiao fight. It took me about 3 or 4 years into ESPN where I just said, I'm going to be as authentic and as sort of natural as possible. And if that means I stumble over words or mispronounce something or make a mistake, that's fine. But I used to get so, okay, I don't want to make a mistake,
Right.
and I got to do everything perfectly. And that was one of those things where if an analyst said something that was ridiculous and someone at home might be going, well, that's silly, then I would point that out, because that's what I felt I had to do.
Yeah.
So.
And ESPN notoriously has that policy where you can't speak out or whatever against other people who work at the network.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you I think it was Travis Kelce,
Yeah,
right?
right.
He was celebrating in the end zone, and you said, I don't want to misquote you, but something along the lines of like,
Yeah,
why aren't we debating?
Right. Basically, the thing was, he's not getting as much heat dancing in the end zone because he's not black, like
Right.
Cam Newton.
Right. But I think you said first. Did you say first take?
Yeah, I said, now is first take going to be debating this, and something like, oh, they're not, because he's not black.
Did you hear from ESPN after you said that? Because that was that on SportsCenter?
That was on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Bold.
That was on SportsCenter.
Really bold. I loved it.
But that was, yeah, I did. And did I hear? Yeah, I did hear from them, and one of the senior coordinating producers called me on my way home, and I could tell he was, you know, he was a little bit nervous on how to approach, you know, broach the subject, and I was just, you know, tagging, you know, playing and prodding him along, going, you know, what are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Yeah. What happened earlier? So, yeah, and you know, I think that their biggest problem was me kind of bringing up first take.
Right.
That was their biggest
precious
problem.
baby.
Right. That was their biggest problem. And I get it. I probably went over the line a little bit, but I really enjoy kind of playing in the space of pushing the envelope and you know, making people think and saying things that you know, hopefully other people are thinking at home. And look, my Twitter mentions blew up, and it was really split. A lot of people agreed with me. A lot of people just called me
Social justice warrior,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, right. PC bro.
No, PC bro.
Yeah, you know, so that was definitely a kind of an interesting couple of days. But it all died down.
Yeah, it always does.
It does.
It always
we have
moves on.
like a 2 week,
Yeah.
maybe not even 2 weeks.
Not even anymore. It's like a week now.
Yeah.
Where you're going to hear it nonstop, and then someone else is going to do something.
Right.
And it goes away.
That's it.
Yeah. Do you miss like pre-Twitter? Comparing, you know, broadcasting before and after.
Yeah, I do. There are certain things about it that you know, pre-Twitter was great, where you didn't have people telling you how much you sucked.
Yeah. Or unless like someone called up the station and complained
Right.
about you, you weren't
Yeah,
hearing that you were
yes.
garbage.
Remember those days?
Oh my God.
Right.
I talked to Regis Philbin about this for a long time when I was trying to explain Twitter to him, and he's like, why would I want to know right away that I was bad today on the show?
Okay.
I'm like, I know! It's an awful concept,
Yeah.
but it's real. It's a real thing.
But you know, I really enjoy, for the most part, the give and take, and you know, there's so many people that are just funny and just have funny things to say. The memes, is it GIF or is it
So
GIF?
it's technically, I've heard, it's GIF is the right way,
Okay.
but I will never say it. I'm always
Okay.
going to say GIF because GIF
Okay.
doesn't, just
Right.
sounds like peanut butter. I like the
Yes.
hard G. Like,
You remember when
GIF.
Bryce Harper called it memes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How dumb.
I love that dude.
Meme.
I love that dude.
Pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, more with Roflo in a minute, but first, guys, I want to tell you about Super Beets. Super Beets is a circulation superfood that really makes a difference, and it's time for you to try your first canister free. It's time now. Super Beets is loaded with vegetable dietary nitrates that boost nitric oxide levels in your body. Science is hard, but it's important. This equals an increase in energy and stamina without stimulants. Dietary nitrates are incredible for supporting healthy blood pressure too. Plus, Super Beets now comes in black cherry flavor, so if taste was holding you back before, now is the time to try it. Get a bonus 30-day supply free with your first order. Plus, get the book Beat the Odds free and free shipping too. It's guaranteed or your money back. Call 800-951-9013. That's 800-951-9013. Or if you're an internet person, go to beetsbykatie.com. That's BEETS by Katie.com. Still my favorite. Second favorite URL. First favorite. Bench better have my money. All right, back to Roflo. You have fun stories at ESPN too, though, right? I was told to ask you about all your fun stories.
Yes.
One in particular, if this doesn't ring a bell, I'll elaborate, but a Minority Report?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I'm not sure.
Adnan said, ask him about Minority Report.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain what that is without getting in trouble. So when SportsCenter moved over to ESPN News
Yeah.
all the time and
Right.
that sort of thing, they used to have something called ESPN News would have, and that's where I started. ESPN News and this still remains true. For the most part, if you're just on ESPN, when you get to ESPN, you're going to be put on ESPN News.
Right.
That's kind of where it's their proving ground.
Like the practice space.
Exactly.
Like Highlight Express. It's like
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Highlight Express. And myself and some of the other anchors, we started calling the Highlight Express the Minority Report.
Which
because
is genius.
it was, and I definitely did not come up with that name. I definitely did not come up with that name.
Don't take credit for it.
Correct. But it was
Tom Cruise did, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it was, we called it that because it would be on the Highlight Express. It would be people like myself, Mike Yam, Adnan. I think did some Highlight Express shifts. Deuces Rogers, maybe Max Bredos was in the mix. So yeah,
It's amazing.
right.
It's funny. It's fun. It
Exactly.
humanizes because most people watch it and it's like anchors. They're very
Right.
straight up and down. And the
Yes.
best thing about you is that you kind of broke that. You kind of
Right.
made it more silly and like self-aware.
I
before it was.
like being silly, and but you know what's crazy is one of the things that I'll always remember at my time at ESPN was I was on the set with Bob Lee when Joe Paterno died.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, just think about that. And just think of all the ridiculous and stupid stuff I've said and done on television. And you put me, and I'm happy to be co-anchoring with Bob Lee, who is as good as you think Bob Lee is.
No, he's better?
He's better.
Oh,
He's
man.
just he is unbelievable. And to like just share the desk with him during that whole story, he's amazing. He's absolutely
God.
amazing. And that's something I'll never forget.
That's my worst nightmare, by the way, to be on like live TV when something really serious happens.
Yeah.
And for me to have to be the one that's
Well,
like,
I mean,
so...
look, no, because it's really, it's not hard to kind of set the tone just because, I mean, there were so many different facets of that story.
So many.
It was his legacy, not to mention the way it ended, the children and how many were harmed and hurt and that sort of thing. So it doesn't take much to kind of get serious. It does take a lot not to get too emotional over something like that.
Yeah. I imagine having Bob there was very helpful.
Oh, it's, I mean, because he's so I mean, he's so smooth and he's so smart.
Yeah.
And so knowledgeable.
Why is he so smart?
I don't know.
So smart.
When he had that beard, it was so...
Oh my God, it just looks so soft. Was it soft?
I never touched
Oh,
it.
what is wrong with you? Investigate that. It's so soft looking. Probably not though. Maybe it's sharp like a porcupine. Who's the favorite person you ever shared the desk with so far?
Like I said earlier, Butcher Gross is and was one of my favorite people to anchor with. Scott Van Pelt, Jay Harris. I really he and I anchored. He was probably my last consistent anchor partner there before I left, and so those are the three that come to mind, and I know that I'm leaving some out. I always tried to kind of bring out and just be a person that could work with anyone.
Right.
Like I said, Chris. I mentioned Chris McKendry earlier. She's a lot like Bob Lee. Very, very, very serious, very smart, very knowledgeable, and I always tried to bring out sort of a silly side in her. I mean, I don't know if this is on YouTube, but we once had a failed high five thing on.
Oh, I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And GIF or GIF somewhere.
In GIF form, or GIF form. So I really, I can't think of one person that I was just like, ugh.
Really?
Yeah. No,
Wow.
because, like I said, I mean, it is just TV.
It's true.
Yeah.
Before you left, you guys were trying a lot of different, and
Yeah.
they still are, a lot of different stuff with SportsCenter
Right.
because there's this movement from now that people have their phones and the internet, not everyone's going on to watch highlights on TV.
Yes.
Which I kind of disagree with because I
kind of disagree with
I
to
go to
it.
SportsCenter for my highlights. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say that, but I do. But so there's this movement of we got to find other things to do. Like the other night I saw a Bachelorette segment on SportsCenter, which sure was
Really?
interesting. Yep, and
Who
and
was
then,
on it?
It was Mina Kimes, but I don't remember who she was talking to. And I love her; she's fantastic.
Was
but I was
she
like,
the
this is
Bachelorette?
sports. No, she just was talking about it.
Oh, okay. Got
But
it.
so, and then you guys did a lot of different stuff on the late night SportsCenter.
Right.
Was it weird? Was there a very conscious effort? Were they
Yes.
telling you to do things that were really different and strange?
Yeah. It probably maybe they didn't say strange so much, but in February of 2015, it was myself and Jay Harris and guys like Chris Hassel and Todd Grisham anchoring on the Midnight Eastern SportsCenter. 2 weeks before we launched, coordinating producer Heath Henry and Scott Clark, and then they brought me in for some of that conversation was, okay, we're going to try something. They want us to do something different during the Midnight Eastern edition of SportsCenter. They don't know exactly what they want it to be. They just want it to be different. So we have about 2 to 3 weeks to figure out what that is.
Wow.
And put it on TV. Heath Henry and Scott Clark came up with the idea, let's center this hour on the best of, best throw from home plate, just top plays, just kind of a video comfort food is
Right.
what I call it.
Like making the top 10 sort of a whole hour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're also going to include some time for you and your co-anchor to have 45-minute 15 of commentary. And we started in February of 2015, and it was split into 3 groups. Some people hated it. Others didn't know what the hell they were watching. And another group really liked it.
It sounds like reviews of Garbage Time. Keep going.
Yeah. So that lasted from February until September of 2015, and I think it was. I think it was definitely a departure, something that had never SportsCenter had never gone in that area.
No, commentary, like turning it on one night
Right.
and just seeing you do a straight to camera commentary, I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how some people took it. It's like,
Yeah.
what am I watching? So we took, and when I say we, I mean the whole show group, producers, production assistants.
If you had to put a number on how many people that is, roughly.
I would say, including the anchors, maybe 10.
Oh, I'm thinking you're going to say like 40.
No.
10.
No. And see, that was one of the things that particular show group I was so proud to be a part of, because it was a small group that was left to their own devices. You know, I kind of get
7.
the
We've
feeling,
got 7
you
or
know?
8,
Yeah.
8, 9.
There was no, there wasn't a whole lot of support. There wasn't a whole lot of guidance. And I think that's what made the show, in my eyes, so unique and in a lot of ways successful. So that's one of my things that I'll look back on as being, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because now it's, you know, Scott Van Pelt has his own kind of signature hour, and but the show that we did, it, like I said, it was the first to kind of take SportsCenter and kick it into the 21st century. It was less scripted. It was more social. It was I think there's something on a YouTube clip from that show where I put, God, what was that little mascot's name? Web Gem Jimmy. He was a mascot, and he came out in the studio, and I put him in the figure 4 lock.
Oh,
Figure 4
okay.
leg lock.
That's totally something you'd see
that
on
is on
SportsCenter.
national TV.
Yeah.
That
On
I am
ESPN.
putting a mascot in a figure 4 leg lock. So it was silly and it was absurd, but I think it was for the franchise and for the brand. I think it was something that was important.
It was a game changer.
I don't know if it was that, because the show was just so short. It was from February to September.
What happened in September?
That's when Scott took over.
Yeah.
Right.
So did you know that ahead of time? Were they coming to you and being like, hey, guess what? Those things you didn't work? Or was it more of a, we just have this thing we have to do?
That is an interesting question, because the answer is, did they come to us? Did they come to me specifically? The answer is no. I found out that they were doing away with that particular version of SportsCenter and my spot as a result. I found that through Richard Deitsch's Twitter feed.
Oh, wow.
In May of 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you had to go to like work that night, I imagine?
Correct.
And do work?
Yeah. I saw it, Deitsch's tweet like at 11 a.m. and I had to go to work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, I said earlier, you know, hey, I don't let things get to me. That right there got to me. Right there, you know, that ticked me off. And in a lot of ways, it's, I don't know if it's something I don't want to say I haven't gotten over, but it's something I'll always remember.
Yeah.
I'll always remember that right there. So when that happened, you know, and the meeting that afternoon was, they said, we've got some news, and I was like, well, I know what the news is. I already heard it. And when I brought up my concerns of why and how that happened, it just kind of fell on deaf ears. But you know what? At the end, whole episode, I just kind of told myself, you know what? They really don't owe me an explanation. They can do whatever the heck they want.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. But it's big boy, big girl TV. And if that's how they want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's when I knew you're probably not long for this place.
Yeah. So is that when, do you start looking for other things?
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Because I knew that if someone doesn't value you, doesn't value your abilities, or just doesn't value your contributions after you've been at a particular place for a long time,
Yeah.
there's I mean, what are you there for?
Right.
I mean, sure, you're getting paid, but what are you there for? And if you do have options, and if you do have leverage, then you have to exercise that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about leverage. It's good to have it, but if you don't use it, it's useless. And I had been there, like I said, 10 plus years, and to leave, I mean, look, for all the criticism it gets, it's still the worldwide leader.
Yeah.
It's still the 800-pound.
A lot of people leave and then realize,
Sure.
there was stuff I took for granted back there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is the 800-pound gorilla. But you know what? It's like McDonald's. Some people like McDonald's.
But it's really bad for you.
Well, no. I mean, but McDonald's is selling salads now and stuff like that. So,
Something
but
like
there's
that.
some people that like they like Carl's Jr. or they like In-N-Out or they like Whataburger. Are there any other sponsors you want me to?
No, yeah, if you could drop a Wendy's, that'd be dope.
They like Wendy's. So I think that as we get in this weird age of how people consume media, I think the audience is more fragmented. I think there's a lot of room at the table for people to make a career of this and find different outlets to do what they want to do.
And you're, one of the more recent of this widely publicized exodus of talent from ESPN.
Right.
Do you think that, I know you can't speak to their specific situations, but do you think that that's a company-wide lack of respect for, or lack of, like you said, if they don't value me, then I'll go somewhere else?
I mean, it's, and it's all about perspective. And because, look, I always thought, well, shoot, I should be doing more, I should be getting paid more, but everyone thinks that way.
Yeah.
Their perspective is, we got to protect the bottom line. We're paying $1 billion to the NFL. We're paying $1 billion to the NBA and Major League Baseball. We got to pay all these salaries. Not to say that my salary was impacting the bottom line.
That's the
greatly.
headline here.
Yeah.
Making millions of dollars.
Robert Flores was making $1 billion. But yeah, it's really just all about perspective. So yeah, everyone wants to, have the best job and make the most money, and it's like ESPN, as far as the on-air personalities, it's like a Major League clubhouse, Major League Baseball clubhouse. You've got, 25, 30 people. You have your handful of superstars, signature players, franchise players. They get the best assignments, the biggest money, biggest contracts. Then you have your starters, very important players. They aren't as known, don't get paid as much. Then you have your utility players, your good clubhouse guys and women. So it's, if you don't see yourself as someone that, if you think you're capable of more, you just have to go to another team and find out if you are.
So speaking of which,
Yep.
you're now with MLB Network. How long have you been there?
It's next week will be 3 months.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah. Have you been there long enough to say the major differences between that and your old gig?
A lot of baseball.
Yeah, I can imagine.
A lot of baseball.
I can imagine.
No, it's the differences are really all have to do with kind of the numbers and the size of the number of employees. I mean, there's just less. It's not as big. It hasn't been around as long.
Right.
That's obvious. So with that comes, there's sort of less layers of layers of management that you have to figure out. Okay, if I want to try something, who do I talk to? Oh, just talk to him or her? Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Whereas at ESPN, just because it is so big, that you do have to kind of cut through some red tape and navigate your way through some deep waters and things like that. So that's one of the things that I've noticed, and quite frankly, I've enjoyed so far.
Good.
Yeah.
More desirable locations, Secaucus, New Jersey, or Bristol, Connecticut. You go to all the real glamorous places.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. Well, Secaucus, you're just a few miles, but depending on traffic, an hour away from the city. You're 2 hours away from the city in Bristol. I'm going to give a slight edge to Secaucus.
All right. Even though, like, I think around MLB is just all, like, factory outlets.
Yes.
So many outlets.
Yeah. You know what? There is a one of those outlet stores. It's a place called Prado. At first, I thought it was, whoa, they got a Prada outlet here? And then I got closer, because you look away and you see PR, and then you see something at the end.
The fonts are similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I drove up, and it was Prado. And it wasn't.
What is it?
It's closed.
It's
men's clothes.
Men's clothes, just not that nice.
No, I did not get this at Prado.
No, it doesn't look like you did. It's a sharp suit.
Thank you.
There's also a furniture store over there where you can get the furniture that they use, like when they stage apartments, and then
Really?
they sell it to you for super cheap. It's where I got my dining room set.
I might have to check
It was
that
like
out.
$40 for a table and 4 chairs.
I might have to check that out. 'Cause
Yeah,
it is
you should.
expensive to live here.
Yes, it is. So have you moved officially?
I'm in the process.
Yeah. To New Jersey, or are you moving
Yeah,
to New York?
New Jersey.
Yeah. I live in Hoboken.
Yeah, I hear that's
Yeah.
like the happening place for all
Yeah.
you single folks.
Yeah, kind of. It's a little for my taste.
Arsenio Hall?
Yeah, yes, that's definitely what I meant when I did that. No, it's like a little like Jersey bro.
Okay.
But it's nice. It's small, digestible, whereas New York is way too big for me.
So a lot of guys with eyebrows more manicured than mine.
Yes, and mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and the
a
big.
Yeah.
One last question, just because I'm really curious to know
Yes.
your opinion on this, because you're a big WWE fan. How do you feel about the fact that SportsCenter is now covering WWE?
I'm like, after
now?
I leave, now we're gonna do this. I think it's great. I enjoy it because one thing that I would always mention to people, because you know I throw in wrestling references all the time, and I'm a big wrestling geek, like I said before. We're going after the same sort of demo.
Yeah.
You know, young, 18 to 34, that sort of thing, and you know, there's talk that. Well, WWE, their ratings are down on Raw. I mean, even when they're quote unquote down, places like ESPN would love those
I'd kill
sort
for
of
it.
they would love those sort of numbers. So I think it's smart to do it. And you know what? There's so much kind of mainstream and professional wrestling crossover. You had Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Now you got Brock Lesnar, who's going to be at UFC 200. So I think it's natural. I think it's fun.
Even though it's scripted.
Sure. The NBA playoffs are scripted.
To a lesser
And we
extent.
still, are they not scripted?
We're not supposed to tell anybody.
Oh, okay.
That's supposed to be the secret.
All right. I was under the impression that everyone knew. Yeah.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah.
We close every podcast with something called the Garbage 10. It's like 10 quick,
Love it.
rapid fire questions.
Love it.
Here we go.
Okay.
What was your first AOL screen name?
Never had one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't like RowFlow69?
Ew. It's gross.
You can take that if you want to.
Okay, thanks. I have one now.
Yeah. Ranch or blue cheese?
Neither.
What are you, healthy?
I just don't like sauces all that much.
Oh, what?
I like salsa,
Okay.
but not ranch. Definitely not blue cheese.
So you would pick, if you were forced into a corner.
Probably blue cheese. Yep.
Oh. Ugh. What was the first concert you ever went to? Ever. Even if it's embarrassing.
No, this one's good. The Police Synchronicity Tour.
Oh, wow.
It's good.
I hate when people have good answers
I
to that,
know.
because mine's Britney Spears.
That's good.
Not in her good time.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Was it? Did she have the shaved head?
No, not yet. It was right before Shaved Head. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman.
He has no powers. He's just rich.
I know, but that's why I like him, because I feel like if I got rich enough, I could be Batman.
It's attainable.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you put ketchup on top of your French fries or on the side?
I put mustard on my French fries.
Ooh.
So take that.
On them or on the side?
All up in them.
All of, mix it up.
Yep.
What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Guilty pleasure. Probably Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's sticky. Like you turn it
I
on and
know.
you can't turn it off.
It's so bad
It's
for you.
so bad. It's such a waste of time.
Now that's scripted, clearly, right?
I don't know. Yes, obviously. Okay. Maybe they'll start covering it on SportsCenter.
Yes.
Do you floss before you brush your teeth or after?
I don't floss enough.
Me neither. Nobody does.
I'll say after.
After. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog.
Thank you. What was the last movie you went to see in the theater?
Oh, what's the Adam Sandberg movie that never stopped stopping?
Oh, that's out already?
Pop Star.
Was it good?
It was pretty good. It wasn't great, but
Okay.
it was pretty good.
All right.
There's a song he sings in there about inclusion and things like that. That's really fun.
Funny?
Yeah,
All right, I'll have to
very
go see it. Last one. You're about to be put to death. What is your final meal? Entree, dessert, and beverage.
I'm gonna go fajitas.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go
Steak, chicken, shrimp?
both.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with my drink is a Cadillac margarita, and then my dessert is a log of cookie dough.
Just raw?
Yes.
Because you're going to die anyway, so
Exactly.
who cares?
Who cares if I'm all backed up?
That's perfect.
So just,
Oh, those are great, Robert. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
This was really cool conversation.
Yeah, this was really good. I
Yeah.
hope I don't get in
You're going to get
trouble.
so much trouble.
Right. Is this do people listen?
No.
Okay.
Don't
good.
worry, you're
All
good.
right, I'm good.
Do you want to say fuck one time just because
No, I've
sure?
I've put that potty mouth behind me, at least in front of a camera.
Thanks again to Roflo. He was great. Looked very dapper
Yeah, he did.
on his way out the door to work, I guess.
Yeah. Just
I
a good
asked him, I'm
dude.
like, so what's different between, he said it in the thing, I'm like, what's different between ESPN and there? He's like, lots of baseball. Like, woo, we're talking June baseball.
Oh, man. Oof.
June, 5 walk-offs the other night.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And there was the walk-off in that women's college softball World Series.
That
That
I
was
actually
insane.
saw. Yeah.
I love that you saw the women's game. Fuck
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, crazy night. Plus that fight at the mound.
Yeah.
Baseball stuff, hashtag.
Did you see Juan Uribe take the hot dog out of the stands?
I did
Or he
not.
went up to somebody and
Isn't that a
fake
Pablo
grabbed their
Sandoval
hot dog.
move?
Yeah.
He ate
well,
somebody's
I would
nacho
guess.
once. Or no, it was Prince Fielder. Ran over to catch a foul ball and ate someone's nacho. That's the most Prince Fielder thing Prince Fielder's ever done.
Absolutely.
All right, it's time for junk mail.
You've got junk mail.
Can you handle the pressure, producer Matt?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay. This week's question is from Robert C. with an umlaut over the O.
Oh, so isn't it Robert?
Rubert C? Rubert C. asks, well, actually, he demands, let's make her power rank foods again.
Oh.
Is this guy sitting in our production meetings? Because that's what we say. All right, so Katie, maybe rank the individual
Maybe.
pieces.
He's not even
Yeah,
demanding
so
it.
he comes out strong and then hedges.
Maybe
Bro,
rank 'em?
just ask. Rank the individual pieces in Chex Mix. Like, are you assuming we're an expert on Chex Mix? Rubert?
I
Chex
am.
Mix, light and dark, bagel chips, mini breadsticks, pretzels.
Cool. This is easy
Thoughts?
enough. Going low to high as always.
Yep.
And I'm assuming we're going plain ass Chex Mix because then there's also like the salty sweet Chex Mix, which is dope.
Yeah, ooh.
Turtle Chex Mix.
Well, I know what
Also
I'm having
dope.
for lunch today.
Chex Mix.
Sure.
I would say, and when you say bagel chips, I'm thinking the brown ones, right? It's like rye, they're almost like rye or pumpernickel.
Yeah,
I think.
that seems right.
So we're gonna go the bottom mini breadsticks. They're too dry. They are too dry. They're fine when they're in the honey nut Chex Mix because they're sweetened. The breadsticks, they're just too dry. Why are you looking at me like that? Because you made a joke that we weren't experts in Chex Mix, and clearly I am.
Exactly.
I go on a lot of flights, and
It's
before
so
those flights,
funny.
I just look at all the Chex Mixes, and
It's
I'm like,
so funny. That's
Yeah.
true. At airports, they
All
have
Chex
planes in every Chex Mix.
yeah, and
That's all they
combos.
have.
I used to get combos, and then I'm like, you can't eat this shit child food every week. Like, you gotta stop with the pretzel combos.
I feel like combos smell a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you
Worse
can tell
than they
if
they
someone's
taste
eating
good. They
combos.
smell bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to my power rankings of Chex Mix. I hate myself.
Why?
Mini breadsticks at the bottom.
Hate
then we're
Rupert.
going Chex Mix, the Chex Light, the light Chex. I think they're corn Chex.
Wow, low.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Then we're going
Okay.
dark Chex. Then we're
Dark,
going.
okay.
This is tough because in my childhood I avoided the little bagel.
Yeah,
things.
me too.
Now I love them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taste change.
Because everything in here is really dry, but for some reason there's a little bit of not dryness in those dried out bagels. I don't know why, but it gives me a little bit of respite from the dryness.
Yeah.
That's a word for sure.
Def
Google that.
word.
So I'm going to go bagel chips pretzels.
Okay.
I
Bagel
always
chips
get
number
stoked
one.
for a pretzel.
Yeah.
I love a good pretzel.
So pretzels number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like a pretzel.
I buy that.
Do you want me to power rank pretzels? Oh, wait, I already did that on my sports podcast. What do you agree, or do you have any like blatant disagrees?
Not really. I don't have any major issues with any of that. I would say my favorite's probably the light Chex Mix. I like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm in my phone because I'm pulling up. We got one of these the other day that I screen grabbed because I'm like, this is a good one. I forgot to ever send it to anyone. So, bonus second junk mail question.
Ooh. Can you handle the pressure?
From @ZombieShark. And this was on May 19th, so he probably has stopped listening to the podcast out of anger at this point because it never came up. But we're going to do it.
Bringing him back.
Dog is his Twitter name. He says,
are
all
these
kitchen
people?
faucets now only dispense soup. Which soup makes this turn of events most/least manageable?
Wait.
So you wake up in the morning, you turn on the sink, and it's soup. What soup makes you go, yeah? And what soup makes you go, I can't live like this?
This is mind-blowing, this scenario. Do you think it's like the faucet or like the like little side faucet thing with like the gun?
I think it's the faucet.
The faucet.
You can't have
Okay.
water
So
unless it's in a bottle.
And like what comes out, and you're like, oh no, here comes the New England clam chowder. That would be a disaster.
I think New England clam chowder, I wouldn't trust the clam coming out of a faucet. Like I
Yeah.
don't, even if we're saying the best quality version of this soup is coming out of the faucet, I'm not trusting. I don't even like buying canned clam chowder. It's like,
Yeah.
this feels like, when was that put in that can?
Who knows?
So I'm going to say, you give me yours.
Any milk-based soup is out,
Wow.
right? That's
For you, not for me.
really. Oh man, dairy coming out of a faucet, it
You're
concerns
overthinking
me.
it. It's just soup.
Okay.
What's your least like? If there's split pea coming out of that faucet,
Oh, that's definitely the worst.
I'm not long for this world.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I'm out.
definitely the worst.
Like
Yeah.
a smelly soup,
Wow.
or like cream of celery, or like cream of mushroom, like any of those things that are basically just there to help you make another sauce. That if you ever saw someone eat as soup, you'd be like, "You're eating cream of mushroom soup? What the fuck is wrong with you?" So that soup I wouldn't be stoked about.
Yeah, that would be bad.
You could make a lot of hamburger helper.
You could.
Split pea, I don't even think I've ever had it, but the thought of it makes me go,
Yeah.
"Eh."
Like, yeah. It's like it made me ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So,
soup are you excited for?
excited? Oof. I just basic. Like give me like a chicken and rice out of a faucet and I'm in. Like let's keep it
Let's
simple.
clip that and play it forever.
Yeah.
Give me chicken rice out of a faucet and I'm in.
That's I will defend that out
Yeah.
of context.
Tomato would be okay. The only problem
Yeah.
there is then you've got, have you ever left tomato soup in your sink or poured it out the sink and then not immediately wiped your sink? It stains.
Yeah.
So you're getting tomato stains all over
You
your
get like
sink.
one little drip out of your faucet.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
you'd have an excuse to make grilled cheese all the time.
Oh man, nice
So,
call.
Yeah.
Nice call. All right, so what's the answer?
I think the thing I'd be the most excited for coming out of my faucet, sports podcast, get paid to do this, would be baked potato soup. So we're talking
Baked potato soup.
It's potato on like big chunks potato,
Right.
onion, bacon, like a creamy base. It's fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hardy to come out of your faucet
I
though.
know.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
hardy.
like a beef stew or a minestrone.
Chili.
Minestrone, an Italian wedding bell, if you will.
Italian wedding.
Italian wedding. I don't know why I put a bell. There's no bell.
I mean, what even is Italian wedding soup?
Pasta vajol is my favorite, but I say it wrong because my dad used to say pasta vajou, and my mom was like, that's not how you say it.
Pasta
So
for
now
Jews?
Yeah, pasta for Jews coming out of your faucet. Get excited. But it's just like pasta and beans and a tomato base, and it's so good. I would be excited if that came out of my faucet.
Yeah.
Faucet beans.
You know, who knows what the future holds?
Hopefully none of these scenarios.
Yeah. No
'Cause
scenario.
I can't wash my
outlines
face
here.
with chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, well, maybe you could.
I've tried. I
Maybe
was drunk.
maybe a gazpacho, you know, nice
Oh,
and
nice.
lukewarm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A room temp tomato.
exactly.
Dope.
All right, we solved that.
Yeah, we good. 2
Thanks,
junk mail
Zombie
questions.
Shark.
Because we got to give the people what they want.
That's right.
Guys, we'll be back to do this again next week. I'm sure we will rank types of things to put on Triscuits. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast for hot food takes on iTunes. Rate it and leave a comment, but only if you're hungry and only if you're going to eat today. What? 5 stars, nice comment. You know the drill. Or you can listen on Google Play, Art19, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or your faucet. You can listen through your faucet.
That's right. Oh yeah, I heard about
yeah.
that new app.
Yeah, it either comes out with soup or the sweet sounds of the Garbage Time podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
You got to get that new Pfizer one though, or else it doesn't work.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
This bit's crushing.
Yeah.
Thanks again to RoFlo. Thanks to producer Matt.
Thank you.
Producer Ashley. Producer Dave is just sitting here like chomping at the bit to talk about The Bachelorette. Thanks for sitting here. And thanks to all of you for listening. Bye. Love you. Mean it.
Hi, this is Lori Grenier. You've seen me on Shark Tank. Throughout my career, I've developed hundreds of innovative products. The most rewarding part has been creating the ones that make people's lives easier. That's what Kabbage does for small business owners. Kabbage has developed a simple and flexible way for business owners to get a line of credit of up to $100,000. Apply online or from your phone. You will get a decision in minutes and can start using your funds immediately. There are no fees to set up your line, and you pay nothing until you take a loan. Kabbage has provided over $2 billion in funding to 80,000 small businesses. Kabbage customers use their line many times a year for marketing, hiring, inventory, or any business needs that come up. Kabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and has been named a Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. So visit Kabbage.com or call 888-KABBAGE. That's Kabbage with a K, Kabbage. Make Kabbage your first resort for business funding.